Last time you guys saw the Corolla, we had built this engine for it. So now we have a fully assembled long block for the Corolla. We were waiting on our transmission to come back from being built, and guess what? We got our transmission back from Johnny Trans. Now this transmission is pretty much all factory with the exception of the Cusco 1 through 6 hub upgrade. And what that replaces are all of these little gears inside of the transmission, because these are what are prone to breaking in the stock transmissions. Like, yes, you can spend $17,000 if you want and get an X-shift sequential, but we're not doing that. So the way that these little teeth gears work is, well, let me show you. So that hub sits inside of this, and then it's got this groove on the outside of that piece, and that's where your shift fork goes. And once you start doing flat foot shifting, all this other stuff, the Corollas tend to crack, break, and then you're obviously left without gears. You're not gonna be able to shift, and just it's a whole mess of problems. So Cusco makes an upgrade for it. I opted to do first gear through 6th gear, so we have changed out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all the factory ones, I'll probably just throw these away. I'll put up on the screen a couple pictures that Johnny had sent me what the inside of the transmission looks like, all the guts of it, all the gears, the hubs, all that fun stuff. So huge shout out to Johnny. If you are in the Pacific Northwest and you do need your GR Corolla's transmission, you do need that service done, hit him up. I'll put his info down below. I'll put his Instagram down below and you can contact him on there. So now that we've got that back, we can go ahead and get our transmission mated up to our engine and get this thing ready to go back into the engine bay. So we've got a new rear main seal from Toyota. Part number is 90311A0035 if anyone needs one. Our factory reluctor plate's gonna have to go on. We got the one missing bolt that we needed for our cam gear, an X clutch going in that comes with a new throwout bearing. We have to get our engine harness on, get everything mated together, and just prep this thing to go in the car, because this is all going to go back into the car as one unit. So the first thing that we need to do is get this thing off of this engine stand and moved onto that crate so we can get the rear main in and all the other fun little bits. Idea of where this is going to go, but at the same time I also don't. We'll figure it out. That's gonna go up on this guy. Go on there. Now this is not bolting to this rail. This is actually bolting to the studs that go into the cylinder head. So I think 3 will be fine, to be honest. No, we're good, we're okay. Okay, no, we're floating, we're good, we're chilling. Check this out. I've actually think I've got a pretty good way of putting this in. I do not have a specific tool for this, but what I do have is something that I feel like is pretty ingenious. I put a little bit of assembly lube on here. So this ring from earlier fits perfectly. Then I'll use the reluctor plate on top of that ring, and then, actually I don't think that's gonna work as good as I wanted. But this ring looks like it'll work. I just have to be very careful going around this to not go too deep. If you're gonna do a rear main like this, you have to do it very slowly and evenly, going all the way around the rear main. We're almost there. Pretty good and pretty even. And then our reluctor plate goes on after that, and that sits right there. Now you want to make sure the teeth point towards the engine, because you've got your crank position sensor right here, which is honestly kind of a really annoying spot to have that. But on this X clutch there is an alignment point, so when you go to put this back together, make sure that the 2 white lines do go back together. I'm gonna have to find the torque spec on this, which hopefully they give it to me in here. Oh yeah, 26 foot-pounds on these. The factory GR Corolla flywheel is a dual mass. So with this clutch, this is a sprung clutch. Keep that in mind, it is still sprung, but there will be some NVH, because quite obviously without having a dual mass flywheel, some of the engine harmonics will not get absorbed by a dual mass, or by this like a dual mass would. So there's one thing to remember. Okay, yeah, no, I was about to say there's no way. Okay, so there's that. We'll take out our disc. And then here, we've got our flywheel. It didn't even catch me torquing all these down. That sucks. Okay, well, the flywheel is torqued down. 85 to 90 foot-pounds, red Loctite. We're gonna clean off the flywheel surface, get our clutch on here, and then at that point, we are pretty much ready to get the transmission mated up to this after we replace the throat bearing. Now, I do think I want to move that white paint mark. There was a white paint mark on this, I swear. Oh, okay, it's right there. So that way when we go to line it up, paint mark's gotta line up right there. The reason that you wanna wipe this off with brake clean is they'll typically ship these in an oil, and that oil can compromise your brand new clutch. So that's not something that you want to do. It's where I've got to do everything. So that's gonna go in like that. It says gearbox side. Now, there is no pilot bearing on this, which is weird to me. I wanted to double check, but yeah, there's no pilot bearing. Just like so. There's a couple like locating dowels and whatnot. The hardware just threaded in because I want to make sure that I can center that clutch disc before we tighten anything down. Because once we start tightening this down, it's going to apply pressure to it. And the friction disc also states on it which side is gearbox side and which side is, well, it just says gearbox side. So I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory to figure out which side goes where. There we go, 26 foot-pounds. A little bit of moly grease on the splines of the clutch disc, or not the disc, the spine. Yeah, no, that's right, spines of the clutch disc. Don't do too much, but you can do enough to where it helps the input shaft kind of just slide in. Now, while I'm right here, a lot of people asked in the last video if I ever put the other cam bolt in, and no, I was still waiting on it, but we have it here now. But I can access it through this cover right there. And this bolt goes to 14 foot-pounds. There we go. See, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure I can access that and torque it down with the cover like that, which I can. I could, I did. Okay, now with the engine taken care of, sorry for interrupting everyone, but we do have to talk about today's video partner, the guys over at Upside. Now, if you don't know what Upside is, they're actually a company we worked with in the past. It's an app that you can download on your phone that gets you cash back rewards on a lot of your purchases, whether it's food, groceries, or going out to eat. I mean, we use Upside pretty regularly. We were actually using Upside the entire trip when we drove from Seattle over to Iowa last month, because that money is actually able to be deposited back into your bank account, so that way you can spend it on whatever you want. You're not limited to spending your cash back on whatever the app decides for you, which is actually really nice. Personally, whenever we get cash back, I just use it for more fuel for the cars, whether it be the truck, or I guess all the cars are technically broken right now, so primarily just the truck. I mean, ever since we supercharged this thing has been drinking fuel, so getting some of that cash back to get more fuel whenever I gotta fill up again is actually really convenient. Now, using Upside is easy enough. You're gonna go out like you would normally fill up gas, open up your Upside app, hit redeem on the offer for the fuel station you're at or the restaurant you're going to, and then just complete your purchase as necessary. For me, I've got my card linked, so I can either just click that and use the card, or I can scan my receipt after. Typically, it'll be a day or two until I see the funds redeem, but it's so simple to use. Upside users are making as much as $300 a year. To find out how much you could earn, click the link in the description to download Upside and use code Smeedia to get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas. Or you can scan the QR code here to claim this offer. There's also over 100,000 restaurants, fuel stations, and grocery stores on the Upside app, so pretty much wherever you're at, there's probably gonna be some offers available around you. So once again, huge shout out to the guys at Upside. If you are interested in this offer, there will be a link down below in the description for you guys, or you can scan the QR code right in there. Now let's get back to knocking these cars out because we got way too many of them to do. Take the old throw bearing out. So we're gonna use a line wrench here to break this guy free. X-Clutch does give us new hardware and a new throwout bearing. And comparing them, they are just ever so slightly different, so we are gonna use the X-Clutch one. We'll zap these guys out. That. And this guy should come up and out and go up and on. I'm actually gonna get this started first. I opted to go to 18 foot-pounds on these. Feels pretty solid. So I'm gonna lube up the output shaft of the transmit, or the input shaft of the transmission, and let's get these things mated together, man.
So let me do this. Let me take this and twist this 90 degrees so that we can put this right underneath of the fucking motor.
Close.
Go up just a little bit on the engine. Hold on one second.
Don't or do?
Because this bolt hole right here is not lining up. That's why.
Yeah, see good. So up a little bit?
Yeah, just the hair.
Up.
I felt the alignment pin go in. Yep.
Shit, come on. I can't. See an extension down there.
I have it in my hand. I was just trying to right.
We have got our engine and transmission mated up, put back together. This is actually almost ready to go in the car. We need to do all the supplementary stuff on the engine that we can, such as the engine harness, the starter. The transfer case is the only thing stopping us from being able to put it in because I'm just waiting on the seal that goes right in there. I'll call Toyota tomorrow. I doubt that they have one in stock. They really don't have many parts for these cars in stock that they hold on to right now. So let's start reassembly. I'm gonna have to reference all the photos on my phone, but we'll try to figure out what goes where and how far we can actually get this thing today. We've got our engine and transmission all put back together. I am waiting to be able to put this in the car because I need that seal that goes between the transmission and the transfer case. But we still have some other stuff we need to do on the Corolla while we wait. That seal should be in tomorrow or the following day. So while we wait, we're gonna go ahead and knock out some extended wheel studs on this car. I decided to take off the factory BBS wheels and toss on a set of Enkei RS05RRs that I've had sitting around the shop for a while. These have brand new 265 35/18s on them, so we should be pretty set on tire on this car for power. I mean, it's a decent step up from the factory, what, 235? I think I have those wheels on the 2.5 RS right now as rollers. So wheel studs don't look too bad on this car. We're gonna be swapping on a set of ARPs onto all 4 of the hubs. Now, the whole reason that we're doing this is with Corollas, and I'll show you guys this once we get some of the factory wheel studs out. The factory wheel studs are very short. They use like a recessed lug nut that goes through the wheel to keep the wheel mounted to the car. And with swapping to aftermarket wheels, most of them are conical lug nuts, which is kind of like that round bottom to them. So there's just not a lot of thread engagement to keep it on there securely. So we're just gonna go ahead and swap them all to these ARPs. I've already got them, shouldn't be too bad. It's wheel studs. I have a feeling for the rears, we're gonna have to pull out the hub and use the press. We might use the press for the fronts too, I don't know. We're gonna pull the caliper out of the way, get the rotor set aside, get down to the actual hub. If it's just 4 bolts holding this hub on, we're just gonna pull the hub off because I obviously don't have axles in here right now, and it'll be a lot easier just to press these in versus trying to suck them through with a lug nut, which you can totally do it that way. I just find it easier to use the press if we can. One. Rotor. Look how short that is. That is an itty bitty wheel stud. I just have to bend this bracket a little bit to back up once we're done, obviously. There we go. I don't like using power tools to install wheel studs if I don't have to, which I know it's more work to do it by hand, but it's actually a lot more work to do it by hand. What you doing? copper wheel studs on the roll-up. Woo! One corner down. A couple more to go. The rears, we're gonna have to do these a little bit different. We're gonna have to pull off the wheel bearing and do it on the press, which honestly shouldn't be too bad. Spacer comes off, lug nut or axle nut comes off, and the caliper is going to come off, and we'll zip tie the caliper up and out of the way also. That's 5. It is. There it is. Work with me. Work with me. Slide the caliper up. This one I can actually just kind of set up here for right now. Oh, I should be able to take that guy off. I think I want to break this axle free first. So there is a portion that's been knocked in. I want to try to get that out so that way it doesn't chew up the threads of the nut as I pull it off. All right, we got it without marring up the threads. There's 4 bolts that hold this wheel bearing in, and then after those are out, we should be able to pull this out. Where are those 4 bolts at? Right near the boot, right near the axle boot. Those will be interesting. Oh, look at that. Ha ha! And then I'm gonna have to get these bolts started. Ow! You dust. The rears, they're not like that bad. Like I've done worse, but you know, it's tight. The worst part is just getting this out, but yeah. We need to get a new axle nut, but for now I can at least put the rotor back on, I believe. Yeah, because I can still get to the axle nut. Now we've got extended wheel studs across the car, so that way as we decide to swap wheels in and out on this car, we won't have to stress the wheel studs being too small. Honestly, not too bad to install the wheel studs on this thing. If this is something that you need to do on your car or something that you want to do on your car, I'll link the tool down below to be able to install the wheel studs. I know this is actually a pretty common mod on Corollas if you want to run aftermarket wheels. So honestly, I mean, I was being lazy about it. I got it done in maybe an hour and a half or so. If you were like chooching through this and you have a press or you have that little tool to be able to suck the wheel studs through, you can do it pretty quick. I wouldn't stress it. So we're actually gonna go swing down to Toyota, go pick up a couple of the axle nuts because they are one-time use. And then I'm gonna just ask them if they have the seal that I need for the transmission. I ordered it through the dealership, so no, maybe it's there and they just haven't called me yet. It'd be kind of nice. It'd be really cool because then we can put that engine back into our little Toyota right here. Our little Toyota. Toyota did have axle nuts in stock, which was nice. The downside, the seal that we have, I was told, is anywhere between 1 and 25 days out. So that's fun. That's a fun time right there. Axle nuts on. Now I have to crush down that piece, which I think I'll probably take this wheel spacer off to do that. So that part that I just hammered in is like an anti-rotation thing, so if somehow this nut comes loose, it can't make it past that channel right there. With the proper, yeah, we actually have enough stud now. That's insane. Until that seal comes in, that is all I can do on the Corolla. So on the lift, she will sit until our seal shows up. I'm hoping it's like 1 to 3 days. The guy at Toyota said it went on back order right after I ordered it. So maybe I got the last one. I'm not entirely sure, but like I said, I'm hoping that we did get the last one and it is like 1 to 3 days versus 1 to 25 days, because 3-4 weeks of still waiting on the Corolla for parts is gonna be absurd. But with that, that's all I got for you guys on this one. We've got our long block ready to go in with our transmission mated up to it. We've got all the wheel studs put on there, so pretty much all that's left to do is get that engine back in the car, get it full of fluids, and get to tuning, and then we've got our Corolla back. So if you're hyped for the Corolla stuff and you want to see more of it, go ahead and hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver, cyan, whatever color it turns for you. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel and you want to be able to put it in one of these corners, no idea which one quite yet, but with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies.